Facebook, this planet's country. And according to our monitor, we are live on YouTube. And so with that confirmation, we're now go to social media's Facebook. And according to Facebook, we're now live as well. So we're live on 3 social media's websites. That includes our teleconference line. So with that said, I say Shalom Aleichem. And that's from Shalom. And here we are again tonight as promised, joined with some more Hebrew Israelites from across the country. Some came over 1,000 miles. And we are happy to see that. And as always, for the record, care of this historical but celestial testimony that is now being recorded on these social media websites that are being called Facebook, again, Facebook and YouTube, as well as we have a video on our privately assigned teleconference line today. And at this sundown, as we're now looking at sundown of the east coast of the United States of America, this is now the second day of the first month of our Hebrew solar calendar. The second day of the first month of the next year, our next year from the previous year of our solar calendar that is being ruled by the sun, SUN, which is the largest star in this universe that symbolizes the sun, SON. This means that the sun SUN and the sun SON rules all the planets in this galaxy and the universe, especially with his great, marvelous light, which is the true light and the correct light. Is that true and correct?
Yeah.
That is true and correct. However, now according to the calendar, the lunar calendar that's presently ruling this planet, that was extended by Pope Gregory XIII, this evening is also renowned as either March 11th, 2023, on this side of the planet. It also recognizes March the 12th on the other side of this planet, 2023. So now with that said, take out your study tools. You know what the routine is. Take out your King James Version Holy Bible. If you're going to join us tonight, we appreciate very much if you would do that. Take a couple moments. We're not going to take up too much of your time. We have an agenda, and we have all sorts of times. Even as I'm being reminded that the lunar calendar at midnight starts another day. And there's a rumor going around that 1 hour after midnight tonight, that according to that calendar and that clock, will be Sunday, March the 12th, on this side of the planet. They're going to try to save some more daylight, which is a mystery to me because I would like to know how they can save something that don't belong to them, as if it's some type of savings account in the bank or checking account. They want to save some daylight. But no matter how much they try and save some daylight, they're still going to be at a deficit of the light, a deep deficit. They remain in darkness. They cannot control time. They are, however, allowed to control their own clocks, and that's what they're going to do. We don't want our people to make a mistake to think that they can change time. I mean, first thing in the morning, when you see daylight, wherever you are on this planet, and you see the clock looking at a different hour, if you remember to change them around 1 o'clock, you tell someone, I woke up late because they changed time. No, they did not change the time. You did not wake up late. Why? Because you're still sleeping. It's not too late, though. You have a chance to wake up. I'm going to go over that in a few moments. But I just want to remind you that after 1 o'clock tonight or this morning, according to their clocks calendar, they're going to perform what they call daylight saving time. I mean, they're going to move their clocks the hour hand forward 1 hour as we continue to move forward on our time, at least 3 hours ahead of them. That represents the third day. We're in the third day. They're still trying to catch up to us on the third day. We'll go over that some more at a later time. Right now, the subject is grabbing your study tools and your King James Version Holy Bible. Grab a strong concordance if you have one, and a dictionary or two. Synonym Finder by Jerome Irving Rodale. An encyclopedia if you care to look up some history that we're going to share. Although most history that we're going to share is in the Bible, that would allow to be read today in English, as it redacted a whole bunch of scriptures from the scrolls and changed a lot. According to Romans chapter 1, verse 25. But if you're going to join us, you're going to need your King James Version Holy Bible if you have one. If not, you can use what you have. And most importantly, grab something to write with. Grab a writing utensil, something to write on. Take notes. Praise Yod.
Praise Yod.
Okay, now that we have done that, let's give you a quick synopsis on what we went over last night. On the first day of this next year, 6026. And that is found as we found ourselves writing down words, taking notes among several other words, taking notes. But in specific, the words that we were taking notes on last night, one in particular, we wrote down the English's word is known, or the noun is a noun that's known as mansions. We discovered something new with mansions. And if you're going to write it, if you missed last night, then we encourage you to write it down. Write it down from left to right. Mansions, MANSIONS in plural. Mansions in the plural form. Mansions. And then as a result of that, we discovered that the mansions were made in England. The mansions were made in England to possess two syllables. The word mansions, which you think is a structure or structures. But we discovered that the word mansion that was created and made in England possesses two syllables. The first syllable is known as man. It's a noun, man, M-A-N, man. And the second syllable is known as shuns. Shuns, that's S-O-N-S, which is a syllable. Not only it's a syllable, also is a word. It's also several words into one syllable. And symbols. Nevertheless, we then went into revealing, and we revealed that the second syllable took us to see the I that's hidden in the second syllable, the I, as one, as in one, Roman numeral one, who are now standing with the sons of that syllable, the sons of another, who are known to those sons as Yod-Hid-Wav-He. Yod-Hid-Wav-He, or Yod, the God of the Hebrews. Yod, he's Yod to the elect. To those who are not the elect, he's known as Yod-Hid-Wav-He. And to those who are just hanging around, he's known as Yahweh. Those who are just hanging around. Those who ran. R-A-N is known as Yahweh. But those who are hanging around, he's known as Yod-Hid-Wav-He. They're hanging around to see if they should or should not. If they wait too long, they're going to be with the have-nots. falling right into Revelation chapter 21, verse 8. They don't believe. Well, they do believe. They believe the lie of Eve, who said that the serpent beguiled her. And in the same chapter, it says she took of that tree. So she lied. B-E-B-L-I-E, lie. Be lie, Eve. E-V-E, Eve. You be a lie, Eve, as we are Aman. Aman, see Aman, M-A-N, Man. Aman, A-M-A-N. We learned more of that this morning in our daily breakfast, didn't we?
Okay.
Praise Yod for that knowledge. Anyway, he's known, the God of the Hebrews is known as Yod. That's to the elect, who is the very same one of John chapter 1 and verse 12, who these mansions are standing with, as well as Daniel chapter 12 verse 1, who is making that stand, fulfilling that chapter and verse. Daniel chapter 12 verse 1. Read those two. Let's read that. Read Daniel chapter 12 first and verse 1. Let's see. That's the first scripture that we'll read tonight. The first two. Daniel chapter 12 verse 1. Let's see who's standing with the sons. One standing with the sons. Read that, please. You have it? Make sure those who have a Bible, if you're going to join us, we're going to share ours with you. You look over my shoulder, look over my head. You see on our smart TV, we have someone smart enough to bring a Bible with them. It's called a smart TV, television, flat screen. What does that read? Daniel chapter 12, verse 1.
Daniel 12:1, quote, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And
Michael is now standing. Is an appellation. Michael is an appellation, not a being. Michael is another appellation for the great prince, as you just read. Also the Christ. And just for the record, for those who are studying and those who do not study, Michael is a variation of Micah. Micah at one time bared a theophoric extension. It's called a theophoric extension that bears the name of a deity. That deity's name was Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. Still is, that they created. So at one time it was known as Mem Yod Kaf Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. Micah Yahweh, the Mercite. Again, at one time it was known to be 5 Hebrew characters, 5 symbols. And 2 of the 5 was positioned twice. That was before the Council of Trent came along and destroyed that to become Micah. So with the 5 positions of Hebrew characters, 1 position, 2 positioned twice, it became Mem Yod Kaf Yod Hed Wav He. And that was 2 ineffable. Of course, the translation of that means who is like Yahweh in English. Who is like Yod Hed Wav He. So because that was so ineffable, they decided to destroy the theophoric extension and just cut it off. And it became Micah. But then the Catholic Church came along and said Micah has a God. You don't have to put Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, but you could put Elohim, which is Hebrew. So they even shortened that and made it El. And then they switched the A and the E around with the C and the H, and they came up with Michael. Now, there is no book named Michael, but there is a book that's called Micah. And when you study Micah, you'll find out who Micah is in relationship to God, the God of the Hebrews, Yod, who was also here and still is in the flesh, with us, visible in the flesh, in your eyes, in your face, for 72 years, even on a sonogram, inside his mother, inside that woman's womb, he was seeing. Even back then, they had ways of seeing. It's nothing new. But that's just a little short testimony of the one standing up according to Daniel chapter 12, verse 1, Michael, Micah Yahweh. And this is that time of trouble. And the United States government is not going to tell you that. they don't have to. You can look at the signs of heaven. Look at the signs of nature that's happening around you. Even when they still calling COVID-19 in the year 2023. As my very soul prophesied in 2015 that is going to happen. You can check my timeline and you can see July 13th, 2015, I posted that every nose and mouth of this planet is going to have to wear a mask wherever they go, even in court. I prophesied that in 2015. And people laughed at me. Just as they laughed at me in June of 1992, I told them a terrible hurricane was coming across Florida, across Miami-Dade County. They laughed and ignored me. The same as those who laughed and ignored me and threw paper down into sidewalks on Canal Street in New Orleans, Louisiana in 1985, the first week of August. Actually, 2005. 1985 was another story. In 2005, I traveled to New Orleans, Louisiana. I walked down Canal Street and I warned the people that a terrible hurricane was coming that way. They laughed and threw the paper down at me. The first week, the very first week, look at my passport, it's stamped by the United States government. It's August 4th, 2005. They laughed, but I warned them. Just as I'm warning you right now that the end of this world is here. You must come to Miami. Come to your God, Yodewave. Come to Yodewave, where he left you. Come to Yod, where he know you. And come to me, where I see you. Right here in Miami. It's the reason why he came to Miami. To establish the kingdom of Shalom, which is the most powerful knowledge of peace in existence. So with that said, go to the second scripture. John chapter 1, read verse 12. These are the shuns, the one who's standing with the sons of Yod from man, a man of one standing with the sons of manchans today. That was a parable. That was hidden in John chapter 14 and verse 1. Is that right? Verse 1 and 2. We're just doing a quick synopsis of what happened last night. We had a little technical difficulty, so we straightened it out tonight. And we shouldn't run into that dilemma again tonight. Read that, please. John chapter 1 and verse 12. Mm-hmm.
John 1:12 quote.
John chapter 1, verse 12.
But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God.
That he is right there as one, but the shuns, that's one, he. And the sons are right there with him. But they have to, first of all, be able to receive him. Many don't receive him. Many that believe on his name. That means the name couldn't be what they have given the world to believe it is today. Especially the name that begins with the J. I'm not going to even call it. It's not worthy to come out of my mouth. And it sure is not Yahshua. Neither is that name Yahweh ben Yahweh. It's not a name. You hadn't studied the word name. We're going to help you a little bit with that tonight. You don't know what the N, A, M, or E means. From right to left or left to right. But we're going to try and help you and assist you with that a little bit tonight. But those are two scriptures that we went over last night that relates to the mansions. And then that discovery took us to another series of words that reveal that these mansions are not inanimate. They are not inanimate, but rather these mansions are Hebrew beings that are now showing all the signs of life, which means that these mansions are not lifeless. They're not lifeless. And by truth, we reveal that these mansions all stay in a given place, in one state, out of 50 states that's under this de facto government of the United States called the United States of America. States that are all in a relationship of expectancy to abide in the kingdom of Shalom, these mansions, and then continue in the word of their own God, Yod, even as they dwell in one place, as we are here tonight, with the same mind, the same one mind to endure until the end, and be present daily in sight of their own Ab, Aleph, which is father in Hebrew under Strong's H1, father, Ab, Aleph, AB. Remember that. You should write that down. Write down AB. We're going to come back. Write down AB with the 1. Write down AB and -1. That 1 also holds the rod, known as a rod. We're going to come across that again. But they're to remain with their father, Ab, and remain here until he comes for them to get them by bringing down the great city from above. That great big city. 1,500 furlongs. That's what they say. Even as I stand here with them, who also tarry for them on this planet, in this city that's called Miami. And that's where we are right now. Actually, we're in Miami-Dade County, Florida. Miami is a county with Miami-Dade, although it is a city that is established as an incorporated place in Miami, in Florida. But here I am in a suburb of Miami-Dade County called Brownsville, the very same Brownsville suburb that my father came to, my Ab came to, in 1979. And he left us here in 1990. And that is where the Temple of Love, International Headquarters, is located. Was then, still is. The building's still there. Brownsville. Zip code 33147. Some part is 33142, but that falls into Alapata. It's another suburb, Alapata. But Brownsville is 33147. Post office box is 33247. We have it right here. Post office box. The Central Lodge of Miami. Post office box 472072. See the zip code? 33247. Brownsville. It may say Miami, but that's what they know. Brownsville. And we're staying right here until he come or send or grab. Right?
Good.
But I didn't come here on my own. Not my own will. But I was sent by the will of my Father who sent me to be here and babe stand them. I am babe standing. I'm babe stand. See, I'm babe. B-A-B-E. I'm babe. B-A-B-E. Babe. B-A-B-E. I'm ba to be. Stand them. Got it? Not babysit. You know babies, I'm not sitting. You just read Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. Well, I'm babe stand. See, babe, those are weaned from the breasts, from the milk. Babe standing. I'm also tribal standing for the other 11 tribes. I repeat, I'm babe standing. I babe stand them, which is the complete opposite of Satan. Got it? Okay. Nevertheless, as we move on, these mansions are known to be a whole house full. They're going to say, wait a minute, those are watching, wait a minute, how are you going to get mansions into a house? How are you going to get a whole house full of mansions? How are you going to get a whole bunch of mansions in a whole house full? Well, that brings me to reveal a parable that I heard over 2,024 years ago in 3 measures of a certain meal. I said I would do it. See, now, for those who are watching, this may be your first time or your last. But before you leave, if you are in search for the Christ of Yod Wafi, now we got to read that. If you are in search for, see, God, the one who is here, the mighty God, he have his own Christ. And the Roman Catholic Church have their own Christ. I think he just celebrated the 10th anniversary today. His name, that's Frank. Frankie boy. Also known as Francis. So that's the popes, that's the Romans Christ. That's all the Catholics, all 3 billion Catholics and counting on this planet. That's their Christ. The Pope Francis. Roman Catholic Church. But now the God of the Hebrews, who's the true and only living God, he has his own Christ. So somebody's God is real and somebody's God is not real. One of those gods created the heavens and the earth and everything that exists. He architected it before he built it. Can you imagine? See, the God of the Hebrews, I got to touch on this for a moment because I get off on that. See, that's my high. He's my drug. He drugged me right here with him. Imagine something that don't exist yet. My God, my didn't even exist yet, but yet he created something that didn't exist too at the same time. He architected out of his non-existence that in which he was going to create and exist as he come to existence of the universe. Now he said, he's in his book. I'm not making this up. I've read all of his books. I have a few here I bought with me from the Bahamas. This is one of them. This one we're going to touch on again. This is the mathematics that he created. He redid the mathematics. This earth, this planet think that they created mathematics. Well, they did not. He created the ma, the and the matics that they thought they created. The M-A, the T-H-E, and the M-A. Again, he repeated the M-A twice. And then he created the ticks of the clock that became the. And they think they can change that tonight or in the morning at 1 o'clock. And in his book, right here, in every one of his books, he put a photo image, black and white, of himself. Actually, that vessel he used, terrestrial. And to the bottom of it, I'm just going to read, I'm going to quote, Shalom Aleichem. Now, it's written, it was actually printed that he told a printer to print it in italicized. That's from Italy. That represents the calves, the little calves, those who are babe standing. It's all a sign, it's all cryptic. It's the only part of the book that's italicized. That's his thesis. I'm going to read it to make sure. I'm going to put on a flame of fire, some flames of fire to make sure that I read it the way it is, quoted, verbatim, as I, Shalom Aleichem, period. I am the Grand Master of the Structural Lodge, comma, architect of the universe. Architect of the universe, not of the mansions or the house or the planet or the stars or the moon that they call moon. Architect of the universe. That means before he existed, he already created the universe, and then he architected himself to come in it and finish building it. God. We're going to go to the Bible and prove that in a minute. The only true and living. And then he lives. Our God is not dead. We do not serve a spook God. He is not a spirit that they're going to go worship tomorrow on Sunday all over the planet and then say in the name of the spirit. Our God is a man. He made himself known. He made that known of himself and himself when he was here with us and still is. Go check out Our Traditional World's Best Kept Secret on YouTube, and you'll see the man himself, not a spirit. He would tell you that in that video. God is not a spirit. Do I look like a spirit? Architect. Now, if you don't know what that means, then study the word architect. I told you to get your dictionaries. You can look it up and write it down and study on your own. Architect, a person who plans to build, a person that draws out a blue plan before building a structure. In this case, my father took a black plan because it's full of darkness. So he took out a dark silhouette of the universe that he architected from his mind before he came into existence. And he architected himself in the existence of the architect that he built. It became one. Then he gave himself a body as it pleased himself. And because he was alone, here comes another one that he made to represent himself as the advocate of the universe. That means this one who he advocated has got to be very wise. And so much until he became the father, the became the blessed and only potentate. I'm continuing. He also said, I'm quoting, I am the founder of the nation of Yohevave. That means he found a nation that wasn't even lost. He found a nation that didn't exist yet, that wasn't lost, and yet he founded it. He found it, the founder. And here they are today, lost. That means he became the founder knowing that we were going to be lost, but to remind them that he's the founder of them, and if you're lost, you're found, again, by your father, the architect of the universe, God, the Hebrews, of the Hebrews, far from beyond. And they thought he was someone else, an ordinary man. An ordinary man cannot go outside the universe, look at it and say it's good, then come back in and live in it. It's something he built that flies off of hydrogen. That's fast and light. NORAD calls it a mothership, and here they are. They have the Air Forces flying around trying to shoot some of the crafts down over Canada and Alaska and Mexico and all these other places. Can't shoot God down. You're living by grace anyway. How could you create a jet and don't think that God can preserve flight for himself? And you think he's going to create a flight for himself, a machine that cannot fly faster than you, so he can't get away from you? Well, you're going to create something faster than his flight so you can catch him? You can't catch God. You can't even catch up with yourself. You still trying to walk on two legs. Upright. You digitigrade you. You a digitigrade. You are digitigrade. We created you, and then we come back and check up on you to see if you can eat yet with your mouth. As opposed to just with your tongue. Licking it up instead of bringing it up with a fork. Trying to be, don't try to be God. Have the world believe that you're God, and then call us aliens. Aliens. I look like an alien to you? Right there. Alien. You want to see an alien? Here's your alien. You looking for an alien? I have a ship too. One dropped me off in 1954. Actually dropped me off in 1953. I just hung around for 9 months. Dropped me off in December of 1953. I snatched the womb. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You made a movie of it. And then on the 15th day of the 7th month, I came out. I got tired of hanging out in the dark. So I came out and popped my head out in the light and became the tabernacle of man. That's dwelling here now with you on this planet. You think I'm just an ordinary man, but you ain't going to hear no ordinary man speak like this tonight. I'm going to reveal some parables that prove to you that I'm the one that left him over 2,024 years ago. And that's why it's called the Feast of Leavened Bread. As I finish this thesis of my all, founder of the nation of Yoruba, true holiness and righteousness. The kingdom of Shalom, where we are sitting right now, is what he came to establish. the kingdom of Shalom, which is a man. Micah chapter 5, verse 5. Shalom is a man. You using Shalom as a man instead of using Shalom, which is peace, which is the most powerful knowledge of peace in existence. That's him. The one who the United States government thought they prosecuted, not realizing they were prosecuting themselves. You thought you had him on trial. He's gold. How could you have him on trial and he had you on trial? As gold is tried. He's gold. He tried you. And you failed. I'm here to reveal a certain parable that I hear in 3 measures of meal. My father sent me down to do it, and I'm going to do it. That's who my Ab is, his Christ. Go to Revelation chapter 12, read verse 10. The churches have their Christ. All religions have their own Christ. Islam had their own Christ. I think they call him Muhammad. That came from his boss, Muhammad bin Abdullah, that created Islam way back. And then they had another little Muhammad bin Abdullah little boy who was in the cave, found 900 scrolls over in Qumran in Cairo, in Qumran, 1947. He had to leave those because he burned some of them up in the Alexandria Library way back. So we replaced them. So you would be confused and know what time it is today. No, daylight saving time is my time. It's my time. Your time is up. Read that.
Revelation 12:10, quote.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven.
Don't you hear it? It's a loud voice. What does it say?
Now is come salvation.
See, now I told you your time is up. Lucifer, Hillel is out of office. He's out. He was cast out. His angels were cast out with him. That's verse 9. You in verse 10 now. It's time for me to come. Take over. Who? Salvation is here. What else it says?
And strength.
And strength of the power of the great prince. And what?
And the kingdom of our God.
See, the kingdom is right here. Shalom. Which is the most powerful knowledge of peace in existence. And I've forgotten who else?
And the power of his Christ.
Of his Christ, not your Christ. That's in the Bible. The same Bible you printed in 1611. And you govern yourselves by the day in church. That is his Christ. And he's in the Bible. He's also known in we read verse 7 so you can see who he is.
Verse 7, quote.
Don't tell me you're going to read another name that we just read.
And there was war in heaven.
In heaven, well,
Michael.
There's Michael again. The same one, the same Christ. I told you that. And what happened with Michael?
And his angels fought against the
dragon.
Michael
had his own angels. Fought against the dragon. Yeah. And what? And now, what dragon? So you think that's now you're in the Disney World thing. Your mind went right to cartoons and animation. Now realizing I'm still fighting with my angels, those who are dragging on. The drag-ons. Just dragging on. You think it's dragons. Do you see me out there fighting some kind of dragon? I don't even put raid on dragonflies. You know what a dragonfly is? Dragons. So is that what I'm supposed to be fighting? We're supposed to be fighting dragonflies. And here we are trying to dodge mosquitoes. Where am I supposed to get a sword and kill a mosquito? I'm supposed to get a two-edged sword, find a dragonfly, and kill it. Dragons. Is that what it said? And what else?
And the dragon fought in his angels.
Now the dragonfly is going to fight us back. And dodging and flying with 4 wings. Looked like one of those old 1922 airplanes that had the double wings. Yeah, double wings on both sides. Dragonflies. Dragging on. Could you imagine? See, that's what the Christians believe in. And not only that, see, they celebrated it somewhere in church. And New Year's fell on their New Year's fell on Sunday. After midnight. And that's where they were on January 1st, 2023 in church. They said, even Lucille and Johnny went to church. married for 50 years, and say, honey, we go to church tonight, and this is the first day of the year, then we'll be going to church every Sunday. Right after you come from gambling, the party, ask Jesus for help. Gambling our mortgage money away. Got to go to a HUD project. HUD re-up. Isn't that what it says? The Christ. His Christ. Praise Yod.
Praise Yod.
I measured. You want to look for the Christ and look for his Christ. If you're in church, you don't have to believe it. See, in fact, we have something for the non-believers and those believe, and those who are mine. We have room for everybody. Those who do not believe, we have room for you too. If you want to know where your room is, in Revelation chapter 21 and verse 8. It's plenty of room for everybody. You don't have to believe me, and I'm not here to convince you. When I get through this testimony tonight, you don't have to be convinced. I'm not here to convince you. I promised my disciples when I come back, I reveal a parable. And I'm going to keep my promise. Now, it's up to you if you like to come with us, but you don't have to. You can be a non-believer and keep waiting on your Christ, your white boy, to come with part 2 of the soap opera. I promised that I would reveal a parable that I hid for over 2,024 years ago in 3 measures of meal, a certain meal. Some of it is hidden in Revelation chapter 6. A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of a certain meal, barley, for a penny. And by the way, that's MEAL, meal. That means when I come back, it'll be me, and then I'm going to get all those who I said I would come back for, with 1 L missing. He ascended. So instead of having MEALL, me with all, and I have me ME and AL with the L's that are here with me now. You think it's meal. That's 3 measures on the 3rd day. Write it down. Write down MEAL. You see it's right there. Write down MEAL. You have me, and then you have all of those who are with me as L today. 1 L ascended on May 7, 2007. That's why you don't have MEALL. When I reveal this, I know that my father would have already ascended and took the other L with him. That would see if he was here, then I couldn't do this because then we would all be here with me. But since he left and you think it's meal, why? Because you have an English mindset now. You got it? And this 3 measures of meal was all used along with the 4th part. It was used with the 4th part of the bread that became the leavened bread of today. The leavened bread of today, not unleavened. See, it was unleavened before the other L ascended. That's why he gave it to them. He gave them the bread that they were eating in the wilderness. And they died. They're dead. They're still dead. They're walking around dead. Just like zombies of Zechariah chapter, Ezekiel chapter 37, dry bones. But they're also in Zechariah chapter 4, known as Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel is a metaphor. Sown in Babylon. So turn to Matthew chapter 13, and let me show you what I mean by this parable of 3 measures of meal. And while we are sitting right now here on the first day of the leavened bread, the feast of leavened bread, all of us, AL of us, with me, in 3 measures. Yeah, sure is it. I'm going to ask, we have a reader, the same reader you heard earlier. We're going to ask him, now we're going to do a duet as it was in the Song of Solomon, but I'm using a man this time instead of one of the wives. See, the Songs of Solomon is not what you think it is. When you read chapter 5, even you start at chapter 1, start reading down the first 4 verses, a woman singing. It's a woman. And then in verse 5, Solomon takes over and starts singing. Say, I am black, but comely. And all those chapters of Song of Solomon is a woman singing. His wife is singing to him, and he's singing back to them because he had a nice voice. He can sing. Read verse 1, Matthew chapter. Everybody have it? Chapter 13, Matthew. Okay.
Quote,
Mm-hmm.
the same day.
Now, we're going to, I don't know if we're going to use this word.
I sure was about to say it.
Before you read that, let's confirm who our God is and why we won't use this word. Go to Jeremiah chapter 10. So we can show you he have nothing to do with no Frank. Pope Frank. What's a man doing the name Francis anyway? Well, I know why he has the name Francis. He's not married to a woman. Mm-hmm. Walk around like they hurt their wrist. The wrist hurt. And then they walk funny like their pants are wet. In the back. Number 2, you know how they walk. They did number 2. They walk like, you know, the wrists. Got a broken wrist, and they walk like they did number 2. And all of a sudden, their voice get kind of high and start talking. Read chapter 10, verse 10 of Jeremiah. And who do we have here? I told you that's someone who didn't make the heavens and earth.
Jeremiah 10:10, quote, but the Lord is the true God.
See? Now you got to study the L, O, R, and the D. But you must study it juxtaposed like that. Don't separate them. Don't separate the L and then put the O, R in the middle and the D at the end. Because then you have who you're going to serve, the Lord or the devil. L, O, R, D, Lord or devil. No, we don't want to go there. So we're going to keep that together. He's a true God. And what else?
He is the living God.
I told you, our God lives. Our God lives. And what?
And an everlasting king.
Mm-hmm.
At his wrath, the earth shall tremble.
Ask Turkey. Ask those over in the Middle East and Turkey and Syria. And see if the earth didn't tremble. Still trembling. And it wasn't because they were afraid either. They are still pulling bodies out today. So at his wrath, the earth shall tremble. And what?
And the nations shall not be able to abide his indignation.
That's true. Read verse 11.
Thus shall ye say unto them,
Say it.
the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, even they shall perish from the earth and from under these heavens.
That's a promise. And they're going to. Did you find the word S-H-A-L-L there? Shall. Okay. Then it's settled. It's just a matter of time. Now go back to Matthew chapter 13. Matthew 13. It's a matter of time. And read start at verse 1. And then we're going to use Yokoshimium. Since the name is you see on my forehead that no one had, and we're going to be real. This is real. This time, this is leavened. See, unleavened, it was Yahshua, right? Unleavened, it was Yahshua and Micah. Now it's leavened. In Revelation chapter 19, verse 12 has been fulfilled. Now it's Yokoshimium. Okay.
Matthew 13:1, quote.
Mm-hmm.
The same day went Yokoshimium out of the house.
What house? Hold on now. You can't run past this. You asked for it to be revealed. What house? And don't say White House. Don't you write it down. Spell it. House. House. Write it down. Take notes. You need to know what house. This says house. Is this the same house as John chapter 14? In my Father's house are many mansions. So what house is this? House. See, this house is an abode of people that are in total darkness. You have to mind this, because this was being uttered back then when they were in total darkness. So this house is in total darkness. Back then, it still is today. This house, total darkness. I mean, a people that are now dwelling in total darkness in a house that was built by habitat of humanities. I know you don't want to feel that you're in total darkness, but you're still in darkness. I hadn't revealed the parable yet, so how would you know?
Right.
Unless you're in darkness. This house, right now, in total darkness, that was built by habitat of humanities among 13 other houses. And I have one of my, I have a son here right now sitting with me who's a witness that we moved in here in 2012. May 15th, habitat of humanities, a house. These people are now in this house with me, dwelling in this house, number 13 of 14. This means that the front door of this house is facing the north. Look at it, facing the north. And the only other door of this house is facing the west. The house number 14 faces the west, next door to the west. That means the house next door is house number 14. And that would make this house number 13. And that will also explain why this particular house that sealed all of the following parables is found in Matthew chapter 13 today. Are you in Matthew chapter 13? It's no coincidence I had to move in this house that's number 13 out of 14 that was built by habitat of humanities. People are dwelling in this house of humanities. This means that this house, number 13, is a house of a dwelling habitation that is filled with the people that are of the light, but at the same time are dwelling in darkness in a land that is spiritually being called and referred to as a land of Ephraim. Ephraim-minded people. You got to study Ephraim. Now, I went over Ephraim before. It's in my video. Now go to your concordance to see if I'm making this up. I told you I revealed a parable. It's got to be me. You're looking for the Christ? Find the one who can do this. Not those who are going to write this down and copy it and go to video, rehearse it, and go tell the congregation. This was sealed. Go to your concordance and type in the word house in your search box and see if that will lead you to the light of the Hebrew word that's ruled by Beth Yud Tab. Beth Yud Tab. Bayat. Reference, you have it? Okay. That should take you to reference H1004. Click on it. Right? And what word? Hebrew word. Right? Bayat. Beth Yod Tab. And what are the meanings? See if you don't see house there.
House.
You see house? Tell me you don't see a house dwelling in an A. Dwelling in habitation. Well, there's your habitat. The habitat house of humanities. 13 of Matthew chapter 13. See, this was not a coincidence. It had to be done this way. That way you know it's me. When you come to the place where I prepared for you, it'll be number 13, so I can reveal a parable for you that I sit in number 13. The last days. Look at number E. Don't tell me it says of abode of light and darkness.
Abode of light and darkness.
I told you don't tell me that. Didn't I tell you that? What's number 4? Are you going to tell me number 4 is how a house of containing a family?
Yeah.
A family of mansions? Huh? Like a family of mansions. Right? That are now in darkness because you don't know the parable. Not even the fig tree. As I told you, try and figure it out. Fig tree, figure it out. As we take the USE, don't leave it yet, because see, you got HOUSE. Now, as we take the USE from the hey and from the circle, the O, right? From the Hey and the O, and then we add the R and the TH or the TY. Then we have a house of surety. Don't you see that there? No? Okay, then go to etymology. Go to H 1129 and see if you see surety there from the house, from the HO and the USE. That we take the add with the R and the TY, you get surety. Aren't you sure you're here? Are you sure? You got H 1129? You see surety there somewhere? Surety is there. Check it out. It's there. Look in the Chaldean lexicon. You see it? Surety, right? HOUSE. USE. SURETY. From the east. Now, with that revealed, what did Christ do when he went out the house? So you don't know what he did. What he did when he went out the house. And without this habited house with people that are of light and darkness. Read on and see what he did. Go back to Matthew 13, and let's see what the Christ did when he went out.
And he sat by the seaside.
What? Wait, hold on. This house is miles and miles away from the sea. It's even as far as you can see. So here we have the sea in verse 2, that he's far and far away from the SEA. But this SEA is for the SEE. Because I already just revealed it just did away with the old. And now we have SEE. And see, that would explain why this house is being inhabited by people whose mind is filled with light. Why? Well, as well as people whose minds are also filled with darkness. I'm sitting in a house with people by the sea who are full of light, and at the same time, they are filled with darkness. How's that? Well, light for the people that can see, SEE, and darkness for those people that are of the SEAC, the SEA. And this is a great multitude of both people. And so much until they have a certain connection that is related to their particular ship that the Christ also sat into. Now, these people also are full of blood, great blood. But you know that. We're in purple. Pause here for a moment. Go to your search box and type in grape blood. Let's see if it's a blood. Type in blood of grapes. Let's see if that's in the Bible. Type in blood of grapes. And let's see how these people, and don't forget, these are black grapes. Now, black grapes are dark. Then you have the lighter grapes with the green. Blood of grapes should appear at least one time in the Bible. Can you see it? Huh?
Blood of grapes.
Yeah. Try plural first. And is it there?
We have it. Occurs 3 times.
Are you serious? 3 times.
In one verse.
In one verse. I told you it should be at least one verse. One verse unrehearsed. What verse is that? What chapter? What book?
Genesis 49:11.
Wait a minute. Not the same chapter and verse where I told was going to happen to Jacob in his last days, and verse 11 is connected to Judah. So you mean Judah at one time in the last days is going to be with somebody that's known as Shiloh. They're going to be looking like a whole bunch of people that's the blood of grapes. The same blood as Adam, but yet they'd be grape-minded. Instead of red blood, it'd be grape blood. Read it, verse 11. Genesis chapter 49, verse 11. So it all falls into place. Here we are now, the last days, and I told Jacob, They tell his sons Israel, tell Israel his sons, which shall befall them in the last days. And here we are. I told you it's the last days. And here we are now with the blood of grapes. Read it.
Genesis 49:11 quote, binding his foil unto the vine, and his ass coat
right
unto the choice vine.
Right. Here's a whole bunch of asses that won't come in here with the choice grapes. They better stay out there with the choice wines and get drunk like even Saturday night. Getting high and drunk. Instead of coming with the grape wine. See, I heard it through the grape wine. The grape wine. I heard it. That means we're going to get to here so you can see it. Now you got to hear it. Right? Okay, now go back to Matthew, because we need to find out, Matthew 13, what kind of people these are that can see SEE. Read verse 2. Go to verse 2 and let's see SEE for yourself, how these people are great and sitting on a ship.
Verse 2.
And
great multitudes were gathered together.
Didn't I tell you? Great multitude of people with grapes, grape-blooded people. Gather, and what?
Unto him, so that he went into a ship.
Wait now, read verse 2 again, because I don't see no unto him.
And great multitudes were gathered together unto him.
Really? And they would not.
So that he went into a ship.
Really? He went to a ship. Now hold on, I just say it now. Wait a minute. We are miles and miles from the seashore of surety. And yet, a great multitude followed him. Did it say followed him? No.
Gathered.
They were gathered. They were already there. I mean, they were there already with him when he got to the ship. Got into a ship. I don't just say the ship or a ship.
A ship.
See, this is a ship. Where did the ship come from? Here in verse 2. Where did the ship come from? And what happened when he went into a ship? And sat. Right? Okay, now. What you mean sat? Wait a minute now. Y'all sitting down? Okay. You in darkness. Right now it's dark outside. When I come back in the last days of Genesis chapter 49 verse 11 and to explain to you that you are the blood of the grapes, and I reveal this parable, you think I was sat, but this is not sat. This is abbreviation for Saturday. It would be a Saturday night when I reveal this in the 13th house. You think it's sat. I'm already sitting. But when I revealed this in the last days that I told Jacob to tell Yehuda what's going to happen to him before him, and he will become the blood of grapes, these grapes will be around with me, and I'm going to reveal this on a Saturday night. A Saturday night. It's the only night I'm going to do it, which will also be the second day of the first month of the 6026th year. You got it? And since you know that, what happens to those? I'm going to prove it. What? And what?
And the whole multitude stood on the shore.
Now, I already gave you the shore of surety as the mansions.
Right.
Do you see SEE? Or do you see, do ye see SEE or do you see SEA? If you can see SEE, then you can come and sit with the Christ Saturday in this ship. This Saturday. What ship? What ship is this? This ship is the relative ship of Mem. The relative ship of Mem that created the erroneous name known as Micah. Mem created the erroneous name I just explained earlier during the benediction of Micah. So I ain't going to Micah's house. Now you're right back in Judges chapter 17. Micah had a house of gods, and they all had grapes of blood, the blood of grapes. And here you are again today. And look see the L. Remember the AL? a house of gods. How many of them? All. Huh? Me all. Grapes. Now, this particular ship of Mem creates a membership. And that's a ship you're on. A membership of the birth error rate. BER. Mem, BER, birth error rate of the ship. You had a membership with Mem, the blood. That's why you're wearing purple. Everyone here, so those who cannot see, we're on live stream, everyone here is wearing purple. So why are you still wearing white? Because you are in darkness. And this includes those that have joined the Christ lately. Late. They joined the Christ late. They weren't here last night, but they're here now, which is late. So yeah, they were in grape. So since you here late, but have now become the of their turn around. Repeat, return. You have become the of their turn around that is known as return. So since you have returned, although they were late, that now creates relate of the suffix ion of the shun of the mansion. So since that's the case, then that shun supports the pillars of the mansions. Then they too can join the Christ that are of the same relationship. So you have a relationship. Although you were late, you still the relationship with the Christ. Although you're not a membership, but you're not the relationship. And that's the ship that you sat on with me, the multitude that followed me. Are you sure to see? Can you see? Are you sure? Right here in number 13, Matthew. Chapter 13. However, those that are set apart. Now, we're not done. This is 3 measures. I just gave you 2. Now, here comes the 3rd measure of me all. Those that are a part of Mem and relationship that ran, RAN, from Miami in 1990. They ran and went backward from then until now to become the NAR. See, RAN, they went backward to become the NAR. So since they became the NAR, they care of the part of the relationship, PART. Now those are they are the ones that has now created their own partnership. Yeah, they created their PART, NAR, ran backward, SHIP. They are now in their own partnership. That's the 3 measures. You got it? So now we have the membership, the relationship, and the partnership. And they all are ship. One ship that they sat on Saturday. Now let's prove it. Go to your concordance now. It's right there. I'm not making this up. Go to the concordance, look up H591 and see SEE for yourself and learn. Go to H591 and see if I'm making this up. Of all these men of these different ships. And women, they had sea women. They do it. They still see women today. See that woman? See the women? Seamen. It's the seamen. How you think the women got here? Yeah, seamen. The men see the women, here come the seamen. What do you have? H591. What do you have? It was there, huh? All these men are different ships.
Men of ships, seamen.
There. I'm not being nasty or rude. You don't have to believe. Don't believe me. Don't y'all believe me? Don't y'all believe Mika? Mika was cast out the temple. Yahweh threw Mika out. He did. He threw Mika out. Don't y'all listen to Mika. Mika have y'all doing things that the Bible don't say do. He'll have y'all eating leavened bread. Mika have y'all eating leavened bread. And you know Yahweh told us to wait 14 days. And get all the yeast and go get all the everything out your house that rise. Even get yourself out that rise. Laying flat. Self-rising. And then bring your girlfriend a flower. Now all of a sudden you have self-rising flower. Needless to say, eventually, see that ship is going to sink. The partnership, that partnership is going to sink. Now let's go back to Matthew 13, read verse 3. Read verse 3.
Verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
And he spake many things unto them in parables.
I see, just as I did.
Yeah.
And continue to do so. Saying, behold, a sower went forth to sow. In verse 4, and when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and they ran. And the fowls came and devoured them up. I told you this is going to happen. The same as the stones of the partnership. I didn't make up the partnership. Those are the ones that are going to fall by the wayside. They fell. See, some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth, not much flesh of the Christ. And forthwith they sprung up because they had no deepness of earth, no deepness of the knowledge. See, in Isaiah chapter 11, it said the earth should be full of knowledge of Yahweh, right? Of Yahweh, right? That earth is a man. It couldn't mean the planet because the planet don't know this. If that meant the planet, then I would have to say this. The knowledge would be full on this planet. Earth is a man. The same man as Shalom. Verse 6 says, and when the sun was up, see, the sun is up. The sun is up. The sun is up. They were scorched. I'm scorching them now on live stream as I sat Saturday. And because they had no root, they withered away. And some fell among thorns. And the thorns sprung up. That's the other camps. They're going to have my people worshiping and recognizing Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread April 1st. And that's more than one camp. And see, and the thorns sprung up and choked them. And they're going to get choked. They're going to be choked. Pray that the Ma'ab don't blow them away. But other fell into good ground and brought forth fruit, grapes. See, my soul desired the first ripe fruit. You got to study Micah chapter 7, verse 1. Some an 100-fold, some 60-fold, right? Some 60-fold. And verse 9, who hath ears to hear, let him hear. Now you know that ear, you don't know what the ears are. The ears is hidden in the AB. The ears is hidden in the AB, the I, and the B. Ma'ab, I, and it's B. And that I is not an I, it's a rod. I'm going to get to that in a moment. You think it's a bib. You want to know what it is? So, who has ears to hear, let him or her hear. Verse 10. And the disciples came and said unto him, what?
Why speakest thou unto them in parables?
Uh-huh.
He answered and said unto them, because
it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of Jerusalem, not heaven. For those who don't know, there's no heaven. He is Avon. And he is wicked, evil. He, Avon. He, study Avon. Separate the E and the A you got. He is Avon. But they put that there to confuse you and to trick you and to go into hell with them. But to them, it is not given. And I'm not giving to them. Although I'm on live stream, I had to do this because my father said to do it. personally, I do not want to come on live stream, either YouTube, Facebook, or their tube. Nobody tube. Verse 12: For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, for him shall be taken away, even that he hath. Therefore speak one to them in parables. You see one? That's the rod. In parables, that rod goes with the Og and the B. That's right in the middle, that you think is a bib. I'm gonna go over that in a moment if I'm allowed to. Why? Because they see not. They are the SEA. They see not. And hearing, they hear not, because their ears are still green. Neither do they understand. They do understand, but they do not comprehend. And in them is filled the prophecy of Isaiah, coming from chapter 29 of Isaiah, which said, by hearing ye shall hear and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their eyes are dull of hearing. Their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them if they do. Right. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, SEE, and your ears, for they hear, HEAR. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear right now, and have never heard them, not now or ever. So hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When any one heareth the word of the kingdom, and comprehend it, or comprehend it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which receives seed by the wayside. You got it? By the wayside. I'm going to skip down because of our agenda to verse 31, as I promised.
Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the
kingdom of New Jerusalem is like a grain of mustard seed, which a man took. See, that's a mustard seed. That means you must hear the seed. Mustard, you already heard it. Now you must have heard it already. It's a mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, right here, of grapes. Verse 32, which indeed is the least of all seeds of grapes. But when it is grown, it is the greatest among herbs, and becometh a tree. So the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. And you'll see them at night coming to lodge around. Yeah. Now, read verse 33.
Another parable spake he unto them.
The kingdom of heaven is like unto a leaven. It's like unto leaven. I'm going to come on their level because I'm going to go get them too. Yeah. The kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal. Now you know what a woman is. Membership, relationship, partnership, and me of all. The meal. Till the whole was leavened. And here you are now, the whole of the house and the mansions are here with me today, as I promised, and you're all leavened. And that's why we're recognizing and observing the Feast of Leavened Bread. The whole of the habitation of habitat. of number 13 in the house. The first time ever, leavened bread. I said I would do it. Here you are. You're back with me. Now you know the mystery of the leavened bread. All these things I spake unto the multitude in parables, and without a parable, I did not speak to none of you till now. That's the mystery of. And they say, how are you gonna do something? How are you gonna do leavened bread? And Yahweh would say, do unleavened bread, because you are out of the kingdom of heaven. You never will enter in. Why? Because you're gonna lay flat in the oven that's coming in Malachi chapter 4, and you're gonna burn up. I said it, it came out of my mouth. Now go look at Isaiah 55:11. It shall not return to be void. If you don't bring your ass here, you're gonna burn up. You better find some grapes. Praise you.
Praise you.
Now let's go to Revelation chapter 3. You don't even know the name.
Wow.
You got to know the name. Go to Proverbs. Read that again. I'm saying read Proverbs 30 and 4 again. Read 30 and 4. You got to know the name. Read verse 30, chapter 30 of Proverbs and verse 4.
Proverbs 34.
What?
Who have ascended up into heaven, or descended?
Mm-hmm.
Who have gathered the wind in his fist? Who have bound the waters in a garment? Who have established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's name, if thou canst tell?
They still don't want to answer that question. Last night we went over Revelation chapter 3. And very quickly I would just say that those who overcame this and knew the name, I made them a pillar. The temple of my own art. And here these pillars are right now. They are unmovable. They cannot be moved. And they would not go anymore out. I also wrote upon them the name of my God and his son's name. Praise you.
Praise you.
And some of this being fed unleavened bread because they don't want to accept that. So continue to eat the unleavened bread. They dwelt in the same wilderness for 400 years. The same wilderness, and they're dead, eating from the gods that did not make the heaven and earth. And you just read Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 11. They best come out of that. See, they have decided to stay with the old lump as opposed to the new lump, the new leaven. You might as well show them that too. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and read that. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, read verse 7. Show them that too. This being recorded. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7.
1 Corinthians 5:7.
Mm-hmm.
Purge out, therefore, the old leaven.
That's a commandment. They don't want to do that. The old leaven. And what?
That ye may be a new lump,
Mm-hmm.
as ye are unleavened. For even Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed.
That's who your Passover is. Who already passed over.
Yeah.
Sacrifice.
Yes.
And today my people of Yehuda are still planning on eating unleavened bread in a few more weeks. Just as they are going to do, even 5 more days, actually 4 more days. Now they're going to add on the 4. They're right now in the process of adding 5 days on. Even from the sundown.
Yeah, they did it right now.
Yeah, they do it. 365 days. They said it's the 360 days. Now we're going to start counting. They got 1. And when they complete, it'll be sometime around next Wednesday. Right? But they're not going to be entered in the city of Galilee. They won't be allowed to. I just told them that. They're not obedient to Matthew 24:22. And that's another one of several reasons why Moab used that name in front of them in the English name, in front of the devils that created their own English name called Yahweh. That's the devil's name, Yahweh. Moab used in front of them because they wanted the devil's mind. They were in the English level. But for the elect's sake, he used Yod-Waveh, the Hebrew Tetragrammaton. Now, here is proof, as I sit here tonight, I'm going to give you the proof that you are still worshiping and acknowledging a name that is not his name. As we go on tonight, this is the second night, right? The second night of our first month.
Second night.
The second night of this first month, the month that was sealed by Ab. Did you hear me? I pray you wrote this down earlier. I said, this month was sealed by Ab as the first, who appointed the rod. You wrote down AB, you wrote down 1. I said the rod, 1, which is to be. So my Ab appointed a rod that is to be. It's B. Did you hear me? You're supposed to have ears that you could hear. So I'm going to repeat that. I said that tonight, on the second day of the first month, that was sealed by Ab, Aleph Beth, AB, who appointed the rod, there's a symbol, to the letter B, as he is A, even AB, Ab. Now, did you hear me? That means if you did not, even if you did, I'm still testifying that all the false leaders of the world, the Jews, the English theologians of ancient time and today, and clergies of Europe, they all have you believing that this first month has a name known as Abib. You think just because Mount Ab placed the word that is made up of 3 English letters or symbols, 2 of the 3 are vowels, and 1 consonant. In his book, this same book. In this book, on page 78, I told you I read this book. I know the page numbers. Page 78. And I can show you. I'm going to show you that on page 78 of this book. You can get this book right here. I read this the other night. On page 78 of this book, remember on the left side column was Yodi Wafe Solar Time. Solar.
Yeah.
And on the right side is the lunar. Right? You see that? And in the column on the left side of Yahweh, Ben Yahweh, Yodi Wafe, Ben Thusafi Wafe, of the solar calendar. And in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 6th column. And in the 8th column, he put a bib in parentheses. In parentheses. In parentheses. He put a bib in parentheses. Why did he do that? Why did he put the word in parentheses? Because this word is truly the name of the first, it's not the name of the first month. I mean, it's supposed to be, they say it's the first and only month of 12 months that has a name that was placed in the Hebrew scrolls that identifies the first month of the solar calendar, Hebrew calendar. That's what they say, right? But take another look. If you're on your own, as I showed you, he placed a bib in parentheses. You know, the parentheses is a symbol. It's 2 symbols. A curved line. There are 2 curved lines facing each other. That means someone along the way, a line of men curved the truth and took out Hebrew and put alphabets of the alphabets of the English, A, B, I, B. Why? Because this is not a name. Abib is not a name, neither is a word. But rather, this word is a hieroglyphic that identifies 2 celestial beings. 2 celestial beings. One who is the Father, Aleph, as the symbol A and B. The other is B. That means what you see in the middle is not not I. It's a symbol. It's a rod. B is the one who the Father will appoint the rod to. One rod. And that would also be to be that he will also see thy name, Name, and will also be the one who would then reveal thy, Thy, and name, Name, as me, Me. Now you got to read that. Go to Micah chapter 6, and that is where that is here with A, who is also known as N, the name. See, the name is A, who is also known as N. That was created from the 14th Hebrew alphabet known as Nun. And that's N-A, right? Nun, A-M-E, name. I am with A and Nun. And I'm me. So when you put N-A-M-E together like that, from left to right, you have name. Forward and backward. Now read Micah chapter 6, verse 9.
Micah 6:9, quote,
Mm-hmm.
Wherewith, the Lord's voice cried unto the city, and the man of wisdom shall see thy name.
Mm-hmm.
Hear ye the rod, and who have appointed?
The rod can talk, so it couldn't be a symbol. The rod is a man standing 90 degrees, rectangular to the square, standing. Even as the 6-foot angel of the phantom. We're going to get back to that. Of water. Now, you're writing, so write down what you think is the English word known as a bib, A-B-I-B, from left to right. You have it?
Yeah.
See, this alleged English word only appears 3 times in the King James Version Holy Bible. So go to it. Go to your strong code and type in a bib. It should take you to H, reference H24. And you're going to see why some cannot hear, but you can. The ears are still green. Remember, I just read that from Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
I warned you that it was going to happen in Matthew on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. And we almost on March the 13th. So what do you have for you? Found a bib?
Yeah.
It should have 4 chapters, 4 verses.
Yeah.
3 of them are in Exodus and 1 in Deuteronomy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so click on that reference. I think, what is it? Isn't it H24?
H24.
And see if it don't take you to fresh your barley ears, which is they're also in Revelation.
It does.
It took you to barley ears. Okay, you think they barley ears. That means they barely have ears. Barely ears. The month of ear forming, did it say that?
Yeah.
Of greening of crop, of growing green a bib.
Yeah.
And this is true in the month of Exodus.
Right.
And passed over.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's Passover, now we passed it over.
Right.
We already passed over.
Mm-hmm.
Now go to Exodus chapter 13, read verse 4. We're going to read those 4 chapters and verses that they recommended. Let's see if we. Now, I'm gonna see you hear, your ears should be right.
Right.
The first ripe fruit. You should hear this, but can you see it with the S-E-E?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you going to be one of those in darkness with the S-E-A? Let's see. Read Exodus 13:4, the first one. See 13 again?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exodus 13:4, quote, This day came ye out in the month Abib.
That's it.
That's it.
Now go to chapter 23 and read verse 15. You probably could have went back to the concordance. It would have been faster.
23:15.
What's that say?
Quote, Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days,
Mm-hmm.
as I commanded thee, at the time appointed of the month Abib. For,
Okay, go ahead.
for in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty.
And it. You first you say a bib, then you say an it. It. Go to chapter 34 now, read verse 18. Exodus, the true X, O, dus, us. The true X with the O. That's us from the east. 34:18. What's that say?
34:18, quote, The feast of unleavened bread shalt thou keep. 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, as I commanded thee, at the time of the month Abib. For in the month Abib thou camest out from Egypt.
That's twice a bib appeared in that verse. Now I'll go to the final one. Deuteronomy chapter 16 and read verse 1.
Deuteronomy
Verse 1.
16:1.
Uh-huh.
Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God. For in the month of Abib the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night.
Okay, by night and darkness. That's why you. Okay, so what did you see? This was dark. What did you see? Or what did you see? We just read tonight. You just read 4 chapters, 4 verses. What did you see, or what did you read, or did you see it? It's in darkness. You came out at night. That's why you can't see it. Why? Because your mind is blinded from the darkness. Okay, then did you at least hear it? What you was reading? You didn't even hear what you were reading. And you're supposed to have ripe ears and not green ears. Why didn't you hear it? Because your ears are still green. Do you comprehend? No. And if you do not comprehend, then you are an apartment. Apartment. Or are you a condominium? Are you still, or you are a condo? Are you living in a condom? I mean a condo? A condo? Or are you a mansion? See, the bad news is that we learned last night is that there is no such thing as one mansion in Galilee, where my Ab is now. See, if you would have heard or read what you was reading and seeing and looking at, then you would have known that 3 verses that you read said month Abib. But in Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 1, it said month of Abib. The only one that said month of Abib. Why? Because Abib is of with the rod and 1B. It's not a word. Of. The devils didn't put in the first 3 because they want you to go ahead and practice an abomination of eating leavened bread and keep you flat-minded and dead in darkness as you came out of darkness out of Egypt. So you stay in darkness. But why are you still in darkness? And why are you still wearing white? All of those who can see this video, if it's even a recording, and you plan on doing Passover on Abib, you're doing the Passover on Abib and not the month of Abib, because if you do, you're doing the month of Abib, and you come to Av, and you come to the rod that can talk, it's talking to you right now, with B tonight. And why are you still wearing white? That means you have not heard. You have your recording? Go put that. Let me show you. So you didn't. Now you're going to hear his voice. Can you hear? Can you tell the difference from his voice and my voice? Let's see if you can hear those glasses. Can you hear? Whose voices was you about to hear with the photo? You got the photo up there too? Let's see. Something that was 1992. Let's see if you can hear this voice. I mean, you got to put that right here so you can hear it. Why you still wearing white? And how you think you're going to get to Galilee? You don't even know what Galilee is. You live in false hope. Hmm?
I made up my mind on last night that I'm going into my secret closet and pick up my holy robes that I laid aside and put in my secret closet to come and get you. And I've been walking among you without my holy robes for 12 years. Well, I'm picking them up and putting them on. And I'm going into the box and take out my starry crown and I'm putting it on my head. And I'm reaching into the box and picking up my scepter, and it's in my right hand. And I'm going to sit on my holy throne in true holiness. And that's the only way I'm going to walk. And if you ever hope to be in my presence, you will certainly have to be an angel of Yahweh. And that's a fact. Because I'm definitely going to Galilee. And for you who think that's a physical place, you still have a serious problem. You need a new man real bad. You need to get rid of the deceitful lust real bad. Because it's a new mindset where I live, where I'm going, and where you're going to have to meet me. Am I going to get out of here physically? Of course I am. Of course I am. I've made up my mind to do so. And because I've made up my mind to do so, I am. And I know some of you will get so excited and you want to prepare for me to come home. And you can just see yourself now getting all this dinner ready, etc. And I may not be there. You see, the real feast is not physical. And none of you will be able to deceive me with a physical feast. In fact, I'm not going to allow an unclean person to fix a meal for me anyway. Some of you think unclean is when you're on the issue. I know. Some of you think unclean means when your hands haven't been washed and your physical clothes are soiled. No. The old mindset is unclean. I certainly would not allow him to walk beside me. That's for sure. So what makes you think things are going to be the same when I come out? I'm just not the same man that was arrested November 7th, 1980. I've been here now 14 months, and I'm totally different. I've been transformed, and I have transcended, and I have transfigured right here. And those of you that's been coming out here to see my body, my dead body, yes, I've been slain for you. I've already been slain for you. I have suffered for you, and I'm tired of hanging on the cross for you. I've done it. I have fulfilled the word in doing it. And if you think you're just going to come out here and watch my body in this tomb forever, you are sadly mistaken. Terribly mistaken. So I'm coming off the cross. That's a fact. I've just come down. I came down last night. I'm off. I'm already off. And it's only a matter of whatever time decreed that I'm physically leaving here. I can guarantee it's not long. That doesn't mean you'll see me. It certainly doesn't mean that you will see me. If you have some oil in your lamp, you'll be able to see me. If you decide that you want to be holy, you will see me. Because I am not going to allow unholy people to be around me anymore. I am only interested in those who will reflect my light. Because I am self-luminous. And when you master the knowledge of your name, then you too will become self-luminous. But if you don't have a knowledge of your name, you will never be self-luminous. You have walked in my light for 12 long, hard, suffering years on my part. And I have suffered your soiled hands and your sore mentality. And I'm not coming back to it. Ever. That's over and done. And it's finished. And you can read Matthew chapter 5, verse 8. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see you. In verse 16, let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father, which is in heaven. So you can't do this without the knowledge of your name and live it. You can't walk in my light anymore. It's over. You see, all of you been wearing white because I wore it. Look at how.
The last thing he said in that recording that we heard just now is that are you in white because I wore it? You ask him right now, why you wearing white? No, because y'all were white. He told us to wear white. He did he? Yeah. I remember we was going to the temple on Shabbat. I have a few in here now that we wore anything we wanted to wear. Not only that, in Wednesday night class, we wore whatever we wanted to wear. He did not mandatory us to wear no white. We started wearing white because he started wearing white. And then he mentioned white. So we wanted to look like him. So since you want us to look like him, go find him now and go look like him. Send it up on May 7, 2007. Go find him. Go find my and go where he's wearing. If you find him, you'll see it. And all the spaceships inside are purple. Every ship in the fleet inside is purple. Praise you. So did you know whose voice that was? See, my Father lives in his own kingdom, and no one knows who that is. No one of his own angel. Well, his angels know, but no one from this planet knows where that is. They think it's Saturn. But he lives on his own planet, and that is not the same as a house or many mansions. Remember? This house of John chapter 14, verse 2 is one house. Did you ever look that up in H1004? The reference? Okay. Which is a whole family of houses. He is even make a note under G3624, take you to Greek. That G3624 is going to take you to another Greek meaning of house that says the whole is the same family in an abode right where you are sitting right now. However, the first place was 4725 where I sat. Go to that so they can see that's the first place. That's the place he prepared for me to sit. 4725 Northwest 12th Avenue, right here, and that's the city of Miami, and Incorporated. I put that in the book. What's H4725? That was the address, 4725, where my soul was placed as he was raised to me from a child.
Standing place.
A standing place. That's why I was standing as a boy. The standing place. But then I moved to this place that I prepared for you. This is 2368. Now go to that H2368. Because this is where I put the signet. The signet is where I put it. It's around this house. It's symbolical. It hovers above this house every night. And if you go out right now, we're going to go out after this. You're going to see the ships in a circle around this house in the air. I'm going to show you. And I guarantee it won't be a cloud out in the sky. Even tonight. However, this house is also prophetical and similarly at the same time of one place where the breastplate of Yahshua, the Christ of Yod, was promised to be during the true exodus of Yehuda in the last days from their bondage under the northern slave masters of England. Do you see it? You got it? H2368? And what's it say?
Seal, a signet ring, a signature ring.
The signet ring. right here in Miami, Florida, since 1979. That's why my art came here to establish the kingdom of Shalom, who would then perform the true exodus from the same place that I promised to prepare for you in the last days. And here we are, the last Passover. After the several other Passovers, the last Passover. And there you will be with me at my Father's house that bears the numerical house number 2368, the signet, and has many mansions of the sons of Yod, a house that was built from the ground up, which is now protected by the breastplate, silver. The silver breastplate, silver. See, silver comes first. The silver is mine, the gold is mine. You must be refined as silver is refined. Then you must be tried as gold is tried to come to this fire. And Moses, see, our first came as Moses. And he wore that breastplate. See, I'm not wearing that breastplate. My aunt wore that. I wear this plate of silver. And he passed over up, and one of us reminded me of the 1983 Passover. He wore the ephod of Yeshua, and that was Passover, right? That was 43 years ago. The first was 1980. Then we had 181, 82, and 83. He wore every Passover. He wore a breastplate. He was the high priest. He wore blue, purple, and red on the stones. And it's called Adam's O negative blood type, mine. So with that said, and you can read that on your own. Listen, you can read from Exodus chapter 28, start at verse 15. You can read all of that in Exodus chapter 15. But as we get ready to close, and we've been, I said, we were behind schedule. Remember that signet. We look at H2356. Go to H2368. No, excuse me. Yeah, 2368. You did that already?
Yeah, you did it.
Okay. But it came from etymology. It came from an etymological Hebrew word, 2356 through 2356. And that's what it came from there. You got it?
Yeah. To seal up.
That's what it's being sealed up.
Yeah.
Right. It's being sealed up. So now you know the mystery of in my Father's house are many mansions. I'm going to go back to that 14, John chapter 14. I'm going to read it. I'm going to start verse 3. We're going to finish that up right now. John chapter 14, I'm going to continue from verse 3 as I quote. You have it. In verse 2 from last night, I prepared a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again. Here I am. And receive you unto myself right here, that where I am, there you may be also. And whether I go, you know, and the way you know. Right? That's verse 4. So now you should all know why you are here and how you got here. And with that said, here we are today, your host of this second time around the Anoki. That Anoki passed over. Even when I lived over in the east, but now I passed over here for the very first time here in the west. And by doing so, I am still historically known by all theologians of this planet, this world, by the Hebrew prophet known as Micah. Passed over before the Boris site. The same soul, feeding bread in the wilderness again. Man, I brought down with me from heaven, from above. I'm the same one. Praise you. In fact, I'm the root and offspring of Dowd. Go to Revelation chapter 22. I am the root and offspring of Dowd. Read that. Read that for me.
Verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, I, Yokashimian, have sent my angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star.
I said that to you before, 2024 years ago. Do you remember? No, not in English. Hebrew. Quickly, go to Matthew chapter 24. Matthew 24. I said, if you kept your patience and be strong, that's where your souls will be kept. That was also hidden. Where were your patience? In fact, forget Matthew 24 because our schedule. Turn to Luke, who copied from Matthew 24. Luke copied. Go to Luke chapter 21. As I read, beginning at verse 8. See, you are the souls, the very souls, but your souls were kept with your patience. If you was a patient, your soul wouldn't be here. Oh, you didn't hear me?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you. I'm going to start at verse 8. Luke 21. You have it?
Yeah.
You start at verse 7 as my reader.
Yeah.
This is another duet. Start at verse 7.
Verse 7, quote, and they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? And he said,
Take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ. And the time draweth near. Go you not therefore after them. Do not do that. But when you shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified. For these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Verse 10.
Then said he unto them,
Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven, from Jerusalem.
Yeah.
But before these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, deliver you up to the synagogues and to prisons, being brought before kings, and they did that, and rulers for my name's sake. That must mean they're going to hate my name, Yokashimia. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And ye shall be betrayed, both by parents, by family members, by brethren and sisters and kinfolks and friends you thought were your friends. And some of you shall they cause to be put to death out of their family, not physically. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. That's got to be some kind of name. But there shall not an hair of your head perish, not one. Why? Because 19, in your patience possess ye your souls. You're the same souls. Why? Because you were patiently waiting for me to come. Even before you met me years ago, you were here, but here I am. Do you comprehend this? You are back in your own souls of some other grain that I measured by the estimation of hay. That rules the English's numeric known as 5. That didn't enable me to preserve your souls based on a vow that you made not to serve any of the gods of this world. And that's during the presence of over 3,600 years ago. You kept your word, and then I rode on a black horse of Revelation chapter 6, verse 5, and I measured you with a pair of balances in my hand, and I separated you in verse 6 as a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny of some other grain. Now you're in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, but not that same body, but some other body. That first you would be some other grain. It's all there. 360 days. And they took that 5 as an estimation, they added on, full of sin, doing ignorance. But that barley is measured by 3. That's 3 more than the wheat, or 2 more than the wheat. That is a measure. A measure. It didn't say one. A measure. Even as the barley of the barley, the measure of the barley of E. E is switched. It switched places with the L. It does not even realize that I am the one who is holding the pair of balances in my hand, my right hand, with the same barley. And they're going to add that on 5 days and take away 360. They take away 5 days out of their lives. Not realizing it. They are shortening their lives. They're going to cut it short. That's what they're doing. But you are the ripe ears. Your ears are ripe, like the grape. And they're still green because they're still following a bib. The green Abib. Those grapes were created from the Y, the Yod, the letter Y. And that Y, that letter Y, the same letter Y, have now become your years, with your ears in English. When you put the Y in front of the ears, you have years. You also have the hey in front of your ears to become the hear. But they don't have that. Your years will not allow, their years will not allow them to hear because they're still green, the green corn of a bib. You are now the grapes, using our grape ears. You using your grape ears as a result of the Y for Yod. So when you write down on your own, when you write down Y-O-U-R and write down Y-E-A-R-S, you will see that they are our ears when you remove the Y. Write down Y-E-A-R-S or write down Y-O-U-R and then write down Y-E-A-R-S and remove the Y for Yod, because Yod is with us. That's why they are our ears, one. Got it? Okay, now as we close, let's go back to, I'm going to show you that I said that I am the one who is blocking the 5 from leaving the east. And not only is it leaving the east, it's leaving the ST, E-S-T-I. I'm the ST of the 5. That's short for Esther, the star. Look it up. Write down E-S-T-I and look it up. You can even go to Google. You're going to find star. The name Esther means star. And that is a simile of the bright and morning star of Revelation. I'm going to go back to it again. Go back to it again as we close. I'm going to read it this time. That's why I want you to read it. Everyone who's here today was supposed to be here tonight, Saturday, SAT, as I sat by the seashore. You weren't supposed to get here last night. You would have messed up prophecy. That's why Ops sold you up. Took away your tire so you could come out on time. So I could fulfill this. I had to fulfill this. If he would have been here last night, I couldn't fulfill this. It was sealed on a Saturday as I sat. The bright morning star with the ST. I'm going to read it. You have it? Revelation chapter 16. Verse 22, verse 16. Chapter 22, verse 16. Now check this out. This has never been fulfilled. This was sealed. I'm going to loose it tonight. No one never knew what this meant. The only way this could be loosed is for Dow to be here. I preserved it for the day. I, one, Yokashimium, have sent mine angel, not my angel, mine angel to testify to you these things in the nations of the 12 tribes of Israel. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the ST, the bright and morning star. This verse was in scrolls that was sealed by me in a prophetic crypto and preserved for the day to be loosed and fulfilled. Why? Because in order for this verse to be fulfilled, I must first reveal who David is. That does not exist. Never did. This means that I must now loose Daud. Dalet, Wav, Dalet. Not Dalet, Yod, Dalet. Dalet, Wav, Dalet. As Wav stand up 6 feet to become the phantom of the water. Out of the 7th seal, when he returns back to me for the first time since I became the stem of Jesse. First, the stem of Jesse got to come into play with the 7 spirits that I have in my body. Now go to that. Go to Isaiah chapter 11. Isaiah chapter 11. I must first become, you must first find out who the stem of Jesse is. And the one who possesses 7 spirits. I'm going to read that. Isaiah chapter 11. You have it? Begin at verse 1. As I read, quote, and there shall come forth a rod from between the B, the AB, 2 B's with the one AB and a rod and the B, a bib. And that's when it's going to be revealed. Out of the stem of Jesse. And a branch shall grow out of his roots, an offspring of Daud, the roots. Verse 2, and the spirit of Yod shall rest upon him. Which ones are they? The spirit of wisdom and comprehension, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge, and of the fear of his fathers Yod, and shall make him of quick comprehension in the fear of Yod, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears. You got it?
Yeah.
See, these ears can only, that's end quote, these ears can only be found among mansions and in the wisdom of a bib. And Daud is Daud among them. Daud is the son of Jesse. And that stem of Jesse is also here as the doorkeeper of the mansions. The root of the tree that bears the stem of Jesse can only be loosed when Daud returns to the bright and morning star, or the ST of the Esther. That means that when Daud first arrived to me in Miami, over 2 years ago, the first time, then I became the root of Daud.
Wow.
You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
When Daud first came here, I became the root of Daud. That's why he had to leave. And now that Daud has returned back to me for the second time, Daud is now mine offspring. That was sealed in Revelation 22:16. I'm not the offspring of Daud, he's my offspring. Because Jesse is the father of Daud. I'm the stem, the rod. And that was also empowered with the May, the MA, and the TION of the Mason, the estimation. Just the ST and the Mason. The estimation that's now standing next to the 5 that told the 6 feet of Revelation 21:17. 5 and 1. 6. That means that I am also the 6 feet phantom. That's FATHOM of the mathematics that Mount wrote of in his book, the same book that is found to the bottom of page 231. And I'm going to show you. I read the whole book. I read all his books. On page 231 to the bottom, you're going to go to Revelation 21:17 while you're waiting. On the bottom of 231, if you can see it, you see Fathom, Fathom.
Yeah.
And what you see next to Fathom, do you see 6 feet?
Wow, 6 feet.
6 feet. You see it 6 feet? I'm that 6 feet of wall, the Fathom that sits between the $2 of dial. And since that is true, this means that I have the power to remove those 5 extra days that the hard-headed ones of Judah is going to continue to add on to the 360 days, beginning last night, sundown, that will end next Wednesday. And they're going to suffer for that. That's going to be the next Shabbat. Sundown Wednesday, sundown Thursday. Got that? I certainly enjoy that because in my father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. Praise you.
Praise you.
Well, we certainly appreciate that. We're going to go feast now. We're going to go eat leavened bread.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do of it or about it. Praise you.
Praise you.
Praise you.
With that said, we just pray you stay safe and you can wake up. You better get here. You better get to Miami. Well, I can't leave my house. I've been here for 29 years. I've been 30 years. Okay, well, go ahead, stay. Yeah. Can't leave my woman or my man. They don't want to come. You got the wrong man. You got the wrong man. Praise you.
Praise you.
That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say on Facebook. That's all I have to say on YouTube. As we sign off, you better wait.